We are taught the idea that we should give, share, and prioritize generosity over our personal interests. But someone warns us about the dangers of being too kind and compassionate. We live in a world where we don't always receive what we give, as it's full of generous people who deplete both their financial and energy resources through indiscriminate donations. If this is your first time on my channel, I ask you to help me by subscribing and liking the video so I can continue creating more content like this in the future. Could excessive generosity even endanger our own lives? Be amazed by the unexpected negative effects that kindness can bring you. Today, I'll reveal the 8 things that happen to you for being too good, and introduce 4 Stoic strategies to prevent people from taking advantage of you. Without further ado, let's begin. Number 1. You'll have unrealistic expectations of people. The Stoics emphasize the need to accept circumstances as they are and not base our happiness on the actions of others. By giving without expecting too much in return, you avoid disappointment and practice emotional detachment, leading to greater peace of mind. Imagine this scenario. You strive to be generous and kind, giving your best to others without expecting anything in return. This attitude is noble, but we often find ourselves consciously or unconsciously expecting others to respond with the same level of generosity. When these expectations aren't met, the root of the problem lies in our expectations. Assuming that others will respond in the same way we do puts us in a vulnerable position. While it's natural to want others to appreciate and value our actions, Stoicism reminds us that we can't control others' actions. We can only control our own actions and reactions. It's difficult for us to be completely altruistic in our generosity. Consciously or unconsciously, when we give everything, we expect others to do the same. However, you've become so accustomed to doing everything for them that they'll take for granted that you can handle everything, both in their lives and yours, especially yours, because why would they assume your responsibilities? The truth is that your expectations of reciprocity won't be met, and what will happen is that you'll be in a bad mood, fatigued, frustrated, and disappointed. Stoicism teaches us that our true wealth lies in our ability to give without expecting anything in return, finding joy in the act of giving itself and maintaining our peace of mind regardless of others' responses. Number 2, people will only expect you to give them something. The Stoic practice of moderation becomes an anchor in a sea of endless demands. Instead of giving in to others' unlimited requests, Stoicism urges us to balance our generosity. By giving in a balanced way, we maintain control over our actions and avoid falling into patterns that erode our emotional well-being. People often adapt to situations and environments that are comfortable for them. This human tendency is where the concept of the comfort zone originates. If we constantly assume others' responsibilities, we allow them to remain in their comfort zones. They don't feel the need to grow or face challenges because they know we'll always be there to cover their backs. The problem isn't just for others, but also for us. By assuming so many external responsibilities, we neglect our own needs and priorities, finding ourselves trapped in a cycle of giving without receiving, which depletes our energy and undermines our emotional well-being. Practicing moderation and giving in a balanced way allows you to maintain control over your own actions and avoid falling into habits that erode your emotional well-being. While it's important to give, it's also crucial to maintain a balance by setting clear boundaries and practicing generosity in a balanced way, not only preserving our own peace and well-being, but also encouraging others to take on their own responsibilities and grow as individuals. Number 3, your priorities will be trampled upon. The Stoics emphasize the importance of living according to reason and virtue, setting boundaries and prioritizing our own responsibilities, essential to maintaining balance and avoiding sacrificing our authenticity and well-being for others. If you're giving everything for other people's priorities, you may find yourself running away from something within you that causes you pain and fear. The emotions that arise in these moments of loneliness can be overwhelming. The feeling of emptiness, the deafening silence, and the longing for connection can generate deep emotional discomfort. It's in these moments that we often seek refuge in others' needs, immersing ourselves in serving others as a way to fill the void we feel within ourselves. The cost of this incessant giving is high. You lose yourself in the process. Your inner voice is drowned out by external demands. And sooner or later, when faced with the stillness of your own being, the pain and fear you've been trying to avoid emerge with renewed force. It's essential to recognize that attending to our own needs and priorities isn't selfishness. It's a form of self-care and preservation of our authenticity. The Stoics teach us that setting boundaries and living according to our own virtues is not only an act of self-love, but also a path to an authentic and meaningful life. The next time you feel tempted to escape yourself in constant service to others, pause for a moment, acknowledge those uncomfortable emotions that arise in solitude, and embrace them with compassion. Allow yourself to be authentic in your desires and needs, set healthy boundaries, and learn to say no when necessary. You'll find that by honoring your authenticity, you'll not only strengthen yourself internally, but also be able to provide balanced and genuine generosity to others from a place of fullness and authenticity. Number 4, you'll be seen as weak and treated as such. Stoicism encourages us to cultivate inner strength and self-control, setting boundaries and practicing self-discipline. If you help too much, over time, you might be seen as an authority figure in the area where you collaborate with others, but you might give exactly the opposite impression. In this context, lack of boundaries makes you vulnerable. People perceive this weakness, and instead of respecting you, they may start taking advantage of you, seeing you as someone willing to take on others' responsibilities without questioning. This can lead you to a situation where you constantly feel overwhelmed, exhausted, and frustrated. When you start saying no firmly but respectfully, something incredible happens. People start perceiving you differently. You're no longer the one willing to bear everything without a word. Now, you're someone who values yourself enough to set boundaries, someone deserving of dignity and consideration. This change in perception is crucial. By uttering that little word, you transform how others see you. You're no longer an easy prey for others' incessant demands. You're a strong individual capable of defending your boundaries and thus deserving of respect. Ultimately, respect doesn't just come from what you do for others, but also from how you treat yourself. By setting boundaries and practicing self-discipline, you're sending a clear message to the world. You deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. So the next time you find yourself in a situation where your boundaries are being tested, remember the strength that resides in that little word. By saying no, you're standing up for yourself and affirming your own worth. Number 5, you'll have many buts. People will only come to you when they need something. When you become someone who's willing to help unconditionally, it's natural for people around you to start noticing. However, this attention can have a dark side. People who once considered you a good friend might begin to exclude you from fun social activities, reserving your presence only for when they need something. This pattern of behavior may seem ruthless, but from a pragmatic perspective, it's not so surprising. People rarely invite their employees or collaborators to share leisure moments. It's more common for those invitations to extend to close friends, family, or individuals with whom they have a genuine and equitable relationship. This change in how you're treated can be bewildering and, in many ways, unfair. You find yourself in a position where you freely give only to feel excluded when it comes to joyful and relaxed moments. This selective treatment can hurt and provoke feelings of disillusionment and betrayal. However, from a Stoic perspective, this behavior is a litmus test for your discernment. It challenges you to recognize who truly values your friendship and appreciation and who is simply taking advantage of your generosity. It's important to remember that Stoicism doesn't advocate becoming cynical or distrustful, but rather cultivating a deep understanding of human nature. Through discernment, you can choose to help those who truly need it and who will value your genuine support. In doing so, you not only protect your own energy and resources, but also surround yourself with people who appreciate you for who you are, not just for what you can give them. Ultimately, this challenge gives you the opportunity to practice Stoic self-discipline. You can choose to set clear boundaries and decide how you want to spend your energy and time. By keeping your generosity balanced and focused on those who truly value your help, you can live according to Stoic principles and find a sense of peace and satisfaction amid the complexities of human relationships. Number 6, you will only attract needy people, not those willing to give. According to the Stoics, our actions and thoughts emit an energy that attracts individuals with similar resonances. When we cultivate a positive mental and emotional state, we radiate high vibrations that attract equally positive individuals, generous, enthusiastic, and genuine people. However, when we give indiscriminately and exhaust ourselves emotionally and physically in the process, our energy weakens. We begin to vibrate at a lower frequency, which attracts needy people to us. These individuals, far from being authentic and willing to give in a mutually beneficial relationship, approach us only to satisfy their own needs. Additionally, this low frequency also attracts opportunists, individuals who have neither the intention nor the resources to help, but see us as an easy source to get what they want. The key, according to Stoic philosophy, lies in discernment and self-discipline. We must learn to recognize when we are giving excessively and depleting our own energies. This involves setting clear boundaries and practicing moderation in our generosity. By doing so, we keep our vibrations at a high frequency and attract people who value our authenticity and are willing to contribute reciprocally to the relationship. By being aware of our energies and practicing balanced generosity, we can cultivate authentic and mutually beneficial relationships. These relationships are based on reciprocity, respect, and genuine mutual appreciation rather than one-sided exploitation. Ultimately, this allows us to live according to Stoic principles and experience true human connection based on honesty and integrity. You will attract only needy people and never those willing to give. According to the Stoics, our actions and thoughts emit an energy that attracts individuals with similar resonances. When we cultivate a positive mental and emotional state, we radiate high vibrations that attract equally positive individuals, generous, enthusiastic, and genuine people. However, when we give indiscriminately and exhaust ourselves emotionally and physically in the process, our energy weakens. We begin to vibrate at a lower frequency, which attracts needy people to us. These people, far from being authentic and willing to give in a mutual relationship, approach us only to meet their own needs. Furthermore, this low frequency also attracts opportunists, individuals who have neither the intention nor the resources to help, but who see us as an easy source to get what they want. Key to Stoic philosophy lies in discernment and self-discipline. We must learn to recognize when we are overgiving and depleting our own energies. This involves setting clear boundaries and practicing moderation in our generosity. By doing so, we keep our vibrations at a high frequency and attract people who value our authenticity and are willing to contribute reciprocally to the relationship. By being aware of our energies and practicing balanced generosity, we can cultivate authentic and mutually beneficial relationships. These relationships are based on reciprocity, respect, and genuine mutual appreciation, rather than one-way exploitation. Ultimately, this allows us to live according to Stoic principles and experience true human connection based on honesty and integrity. Number 7. You could fall into addiction. When the Stoics warn us about the possibility of falling into addiction, they are reminding us that moderation and self-control are fundamental to maintaining a balanced and healthy life. In the context of generosity, practicing self-discipline protects us from falling into addictive patterns that can arise when we constantly feel exhausted and needy due to our overextension. When we live according to Stoic principles, we recognize that generosity must be balanced. Giving without measure and without restrictions can deplete our emotional and physical reserves, leading us to seek relief in addictive forms such as overeating, drinking, or gaming. Stoic philosophy teaches use to pay attention to warning signs that come to use through the people close to us. If someone we trust points out that we are relying too much on certain behaviors, we should take those observations seriously. It is natural for our first reaction to be denial, especially when we are caught in the cycle of an incipient addiction. However, these concerns come from a genuine place of care and love on their part. Accepting these observations with humility and gratitude is a crucial step towards self-awareness and personal growth. By doing so, we are practicing Stoic philosophy in action, applying the principles of moderation and self-control to avoid falling into addictive traps that can undermine our health and well-being. Always remember that the people who care about us do so with the intention of helping us overcome challenges and move towards a fuller and more meaningful life. Taking their observations seriously demonstrates a deep consideration for our own well-being and a genuine commitment to our personal growth and long-term happiness. Number 8, you will arouse suspicion. Stoicism encourages us to act virtuously regardless of how others may perceive us. By focusing on living in harmony with our principles and values, we build a genuine reputation that is resistant to unfounded suspicions. Although we would like things to be different, the truth is that genuinely kind people are not abundant in this world. Therefore, if you are one of them, you will arouse suspicion instead of admiration and gratitude. It won't be long before you show your kindness for people to start wondering what's going on with you and what hidden intentions you have that you don't reveal to anyone. This means that you have found a group of suspicious people, not necessarily, but it is more likely that they are realistic. Most overly enthusiastic people tend to hide such macabre intentions that it is better to stay away from them and give up the help they want to provide. Let's see the strategies to prevent people from using you. Strategy number 1, listen to your feelings. They are speaking to you. Based on the Stoic idea of self-awareness, pay attention to your emotions and feelings. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-reflection to understand your reactions and needs. By listening to your feelings, you can identify if you are overgiving and emotionally draining yourself, allowing you to adjust your approach and find a healthy balance. How do you feel when you help others? Thinking about yourself and prioritizing them is such an altruistic act that practicing it should make you feel like you're walking on clouds. So if you feel overwhelmed, drained of energy, angry or used, it's time to pay attention to your feelings. If something you're not obligated to do makes you so uncomfortable, it's necessary not to deceive yourself so that you discover how the help you're providing affects your well-being. Strategy number 2, lose the fear of the word no. Following Stoic teachings, recognize that your time and energy are valuable and must be consciously and balancedly allocated. Saying no in situations where you feel overwhelmed or when the request is unfair is a way to exercise self-control. Although the word no is associated with negative behavior and pessimism, it is normal for us to find it difficult to say no. However, negativity is what will become our life if we do not develop the ability to say this word when someone demands more than we can give. Practice in front of the mirror and convince yourself that it is the only way to regain your freedom and avoid unnecessary and potential risks. Strategy number 3, there is a time and space for you. Respect them. Following Stoic principles of self-discipline and self-respect is essential to set aside time and space to take care of yourself. Do what you enjoy, practice yoga, draw, listen to music while having a cup of tea, whatever motivates you. Finish your obligations as soon as possible so you can practice. This is something you should take very seriously as scheduling this time daily or weekly. Therefore, if someone asks for your help during that time, they must be very respectful and cooperative with you, not with the person. So, without remorse, tell them no and enjoy that time and space just for you. If you don't want to be so blunt, you can offer your help for another time, but always make it clear that your availability will be limited because you have a life to attend to. Strategy number 4. Identify energy vampires and stay away from them. Following Stoic principles of self-discipline and discernment, it is important to recognize which relationships benefit you and which may emotionally drain you. By distancing yourself from people who constantly drain your energy and do not contribute positively, you are taking care of your own well-being and applying Stoic self-control in your relationships. If you try to help an energy vampire, you should know that it will not work. These people overwhelm you with their complaints, their pains, and their catastrophic view of life. Forget about helping them. They don't want to solve their problems because that would mean stopping complaining, something they would not tolerate. In conclusion, according to Stoic wisdom, the best measure for things in life is always the middle point, and generosity is no exception. If we give too little, we seem selfish and greedy, while if we give too much, we end up completely drained of energy, time, and probably money as well. So lean towards the grays, which remain the preferred shades when it comes to finding a balance between prioritizing others and ourselves. And when in doubt, always remember the magical word no, especially if they are offering to take you home from the car window. Stoic philosophy can be a deep and complex field to explore, and sometimes it can be even more challenging to put into practice in our daily lives. But don't worry, we've got you covered. In the video description, you'll find a link to our ebook, where we share 50 Stoic ideas and practical examples on how to apply them to your everyday life. This ebook is designed to help you navigate the core principles of Stoicism and guide you toward becoming your best version. Whether you're seeking inner calm, greater resilience, or a more purposeful approach to life, these ideas can offer a clear and actionable path forward. Check it out and start your journey towards a more stoic, balanced, and fulfilling life.